I've put 20,000 miles on my Wrangler YJ since I've swapped the engine to a 5.7 Hemi. It's been great. I love the power, the sounds, the lack of doors.
It's a second Harvey.
Well, the AC, and rung to the gears of its 5-speed AX15 transmission. I've taken it off-roading, to the beach, and on road trips. In every aspect, this Jeep has improved because of the swap, and it's been my daily driver for the past year. But I've got big plans for this little Wrangler, and although the 5-speed is good, the transmission is holding it back. The shifts are kind of slow and sloppy, and even if I bought a refurbished transmission, it wouldn't hold up to the plan. I researched a whole lot trying to figure out what my options are to make the AX15 stronger, calling up builders, getting advice. They all said the same thing: nobody will build a heavy-duty AX15. It looks like I'll have to do yet another transmission swap. Usually folks in my situation will opt for the NV 4500. This came in the Ram trucks. This transmission can be easily adapted to my transfer case with an input shaft swap and can hold more torque than a Freightliner. So why didn't I go with an NV 4500? Well, because I called this guy. This is Dakota from Full Hook Performance. He builds NV 4500s before unleashing nearly 2,000 pound-feet of Cummins on them. And he said get a G56 instead, citing the NV 4500's slow shifting and constant fifth gear issues. Well, I took his advice and got a G56. It has arrived. This thing is huge. Holy smokes. This transmission will also handle more torque than a Freightliner. It's also got quick shifts. Best of all, it came as an option behind a 5.7 Hemi just like mine from the factory. With no expensive custom adapters necessary for the engine side, I focused my attention on adapting to the transfer case. I have an NP231, and according to my calculations, mating it to the G56 should be as simple as swapping in a new input shaft. So I don't know if it'll actually fit. But here it is, less than an hour later. Here's what we're gonna try to replace. In order to swap the input shaft, I first had to split the transfer case. Alright, here we go. I think I go like this. Huh? Yeah. That falls out. So here's our new one. Let's compare side by side. They look different. And that's because the new input shaft is missing the pilot bearing present on the old input shaft. More on that later. Try here is fitting this here. I mean, yeah, it fits. It fits. Wouldn't you know? So I got it halfway reassembled here. And it seems so happy to be there. I think I can send it. I, in fact, could not send it. So here I'm whacking out the pilot bearing from the old drive shaft and hoping it'll fit in the new one. See, because this just doesn't fit on its own, and you need it so that this shaft can ride on the interior here. So here's the bushing that I had made. My pilot bearing goes in this bushing, and then this goes in here. With the input shaft fitment settled, I moved on to installing a slip yoke eliminator into my transfer case. See, the output of my transfer case is already alarmingly close to my rear differential. And the G56 is even longer, so I'll run into a number of driveshaft issues. The slip yoke eliminator shortens my transfer case by 7 inches, allowing for an acceptable driveshaft angle. Disassembly was going well until I reached this snap ring. I almost managed to remove it, but I couldn't get it all the way off the shaft because of these splines. After nearly an hour and a half of fighting... Here's the rear drive shaft. So I gotta move some of these onto the new one here. I'm gonna take this off. Take all of these off as an assembly, and then we put it on here without moving anything. Come on. There we go. Cleaned up the transfer case housing, and now it's time for a reassembly. I forgot how to do it.
Nice.
All right, it's assembled. Just waiting on the gasket to dry. Now it's onto the Jeep. Okay, that's that chair. Oh yeah, light work. Woohoo! It is now under the car. Obviously we're gonna have some clearance issues because it's got to raise by a lot. But honestly, the shifter location is looking pretty good. So I'm thinking that all of this is going to have to be cut up pretty good. Nothing insane, but let's just say we're gonna have a bit of a dog. What is it called? What is it called? A dog house. It's gonna be a dog house, essentially. So I raised the front of the transmission to match the angle of the engine, and we are close. You see that? We're only about an inch, maybe 2 off. But man, is it close. We can push it forward and go up, and hopefully this is all the cutting I even had to do. It in fact was not all the cutting I needed to do, so... This is how close we are right now. This is the next thing that's hitting. Arg! Why's that gotta be there? Oh, that's it. That's gotta be it. Yeah, this is it. It is on. Look at that. Ain't that something? It is in. I'd like to ditch this jack now and only use that so that I can have room over here to fit the mount. We got the skid plate here. I marked out right there and right there. That's where I need to be drilling some channels for these bolts. It's kind of insane that it lined up on this cross member so well. I was thinking I was gonna have to fabricate some crazy mount here, but man, am I pleased about that. So here it is. Now I know what you're thinking. The answer is yes. I have made worse. Just not much worse. Slap a coat of paint on it, it'll be fine, alright? Nice. Yeah. This has got to be the most satisfying part right here. Oil me up. You know what time it is. She sounded very clunky. So it seems my water pump now makes contact with my radiator fan. It used to not do that, but now that I have a different placement, different angle. So I took out the radiator fan. We'll just have to keep an eye out on the temps until I get a new one. Check out the shifter, I made it myself. Now I don't know the shift pattern by hand, but I need to hit reverse. I don't even know if the clutch works. That's forward. It would help if I removed the parking brake. I need to do more research. Okay, my drive shaft is hitting, but it goes in reverse. Oh yeah, that really got it. As you can see, the new transmission is working extremely well. It took some getting used to, but it shifts so much faster already, and it doesn't feel like it's constantly on the brink of grenading itself. I was actually able to get this Jeep's best 0 to 60 after just a couple miles of driving. I especially love the granny gear because I can go super slow and that'll be great for rock crawling. There's still a whole lot of room for improvement both on my end and with tidying things up with the Jeep, such as connecting the new speed sensor and the new reverse switch and creating a more permanent transmission tunnel. But that's all I got time for today, so thank you for watching.